Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Amanda. I am a full-time working mom. I have a typical 9-to-5 job. I do work remotely, but I work Monday through Friday. I am a marketing manager for a professional engineering society. So today I am gonna do a Q&A. I asked y'all over on YouTube and on Instagram to send me your questions, and I am gonna do my best to answer all of them. As usual, y'all showed up and there's some really good questions. So let's start off with some questions that I got from YouTube. How often do you declutter papers, books, clothes, etc.? Your house always looks so minimal and clean. I need tips on being more minimal, LOL. So one thing I think that kind of helps me is that I am a naturally very neat and tidy person. I cannot stand stuff. I hate stuff. I am the type of person that if there is something sitting on the counter and it looks like trash, I will throw it away. Like if it's a paper, if it's a receipt, whatever, I will just throw it in the garbage. Same with like the kids' toys. If it's a random thing that I know that we got at McDonald's, or if it was something that came from a kid's, goodie bag from a birthday party that doesn't belong in a set or something like that, I will literally just toss it because my kids will play with it for 1 minute and then they're on to the next. So I feel like I do a decluttering just randomly when I see stuff. I also try kind of seasonally to get rid of stuff. I don't know if you saw my recent video, but I was learning about what colors look good on me, and I'm in autumn. So recently I decluttered my closet. So I got rid of a lot of stuff, not things that I've recently purchased that are outside of my color palette, but stuff that has been sitting in my closet that I haven't worn in over a year or 2 years or more, that is out of my color palette that I know that I am not gonna wear. So things like that kind of force me to kind of do a purge. The kids' toys are kind of the biggest thing. I tend to, after like right before Christmas, I will go and take a look at dump out all of the toy bins and get rid of all the stuff that's at the bottom that they don't even remember is in there, to make room for other stuff. Or, right after my kid's birthday. So Chase actually just turned 6 yesterday, and I am looking at my toy bins that are right behind this camera. It's just flowing over the top and I don't even know what stuff is in here. So I need to go and get rid of a bunch of toys, donate the stuff that they are not playing with anymore. The main place in my house that I keep as decluttered as possible is the living room and the kitchen area and the dining room area. So basically just this area where we live the most. I always pick up the kids' toys, get them out of the way, and I try not to have a lot of stuff on the table. So if stuff is starting to accumulate on my dining table here, I will every single day go and put that stuff away, whether it's throwing things out, filing papers away, putting things in the office like that I need for Chase's school or medical documents, things like that. I always immediately try to put things in their own place so that I don't end up with stacks of things. On the daily, I tidy up. And I do the big declutters seasonally or after birthdays and things like that. After becoming a mom, I think just the chaos of life has sort of forced me into this, I don't know, it's kind of like a crazy mindset. I get such anxiety when there's a mess. After Chase's birthday, we came home and he opened all of his presents, and there was just like everything was all over the place, all over the living room. There was wrapping paper, there's toys everywhere, and I literally felt so anxious because the mess. So for my own selfish reasons, I have to make sure that I am living in a clean, neat, and tidy and sort of minimalist space, because it allows my brain to be clear for other things. I know that if I am in a messy space, then my mind is only focusing on that, and I can't do anything else. It's like debilitating until that mess is gone. Same with dishes in the sink. I cannot stand dishes in the sink or the kitchen counter being just cluttered with stuff. I have to get everything put away. It has to go in the dishwasher. It has to be washed and put away. Like I can't stand seeing that stuff. It drives me crazy. I cannot focus on anything else until I feel like I have gotten those things put away. The next one was, how long did it take to get your pink back after having kids, like finding yourself again? I honestly think it wasn't until Quinn was maybe 2 years old, because my kids are 21 months apart. So when I had Quinn, Chase wasn't even 2 yet. And from the period of her being born until she was about 2 and Chase was around 4, it was just it was just crazy. I wasn't focusing on myself. It was all about them. It was trying to find a schedule. It was trying to figure out a routine. It was trying to make sure everybody had everything. And I really put myself on the back burner. But once, you know, both of my kids were in daycare. Quinn was in daycare at 1, and we kept her home for that first year, and it was also COVID. But once they were both in daycare and kind of on a schedule, and I was able to get full nights of sleep and figure out how to put my self-care stuff into my own schedule and still manage everything, I think it was when Quinn was 2. So that was, she's 4 now. So that about, you know, 2 years ago. But ever since then, it's really been wonderful. And then the next one was how to not have guilt when leaving the kids at daycare and preschool, and how do you not burn out with mom and work life? I feel like there's gonna be mom guilt regardless of what you're doing. And I think the preschool thing or putting your kids in daycare, in the beginning, I've really felt it. Chase, my firstborn, we put him in daycare at 1, and before he turned 1, we had a nanny. So I kind of had a nice transition to keeping him home, but I felt very guilty putting him in daycare, but I also was trying to juggle work and having him at home, or when Quinn was, you know, 0 to 1 years old, she was at home. I was also trying to work full time, and it is very difficult. Kudos to any working moms who also have their kids at home, because I could not do it. So there was this guilt about putting my kids in daycare, but there was also so much guilt about not being able to show up 100% at work. So I was, for a year, well, actually 2 years combined, when both of them were home for that first year, I was a disaster. I felt so guilty about everything. Not being able to give my 100% to work, not being able to give my 100% to my kids while they were home with me, feeling like I couldn't teach them stuff and I was just glued to my computer screen or trying to be on meetings and they need me for something. I felt more guilty, honestly, about that, the fact that I was there in the room with them and couldn't give my all to them, than sending them to daycare and having them be around other kids, having them learn stuff, having a full curriculum, that kind of a thing. And you'll always have guilt as a mom. You can't, you know, chop yourself up into 1,000 pieces and give everything, you know, your 100%. So there's just that, which I've really just come to terms with, and I've come to accept that I am just gonna do my best and give my all, and that's as good as I can do. But my thing about daycare is I am not a Pinterest mom. I felt bad about putting them in daycare, but I also really didn't, because I was like, they would not thrive at home, because I don't like doing activities, especially activities for kids. I don't like activities in general as an adult. Like, I don't like doing things like that. Like bowling and like crafting or anything. Worse than that is doing kid activities. It's just not me. And I, you know, applaud all of the moms that can sit there with their kids and teach them stuff and play games and do activities and craft and whatever, paint, but it's just not me. So I felt much more guilt over not being able to do that stuff as a mom. And I felt a lot better sending them to daycare, where they would be in a place where their teachers live for that stuff. Like, they live to teach these kids. They absolutely love kids, and the social aspect for my kids really made it so much better. So I think in the beginning I was sad. There were a lot of days that I was crying, especially with Quinn. She was very attached to me and Pete. So when we first started her in daycare, she would scream her head off and cry and hyperventilate. And it was very, very traumatic for me. So I felt immense guilt, but time heals all. And my kids are thriving. They are doing so well. Chase was more than prepared going into kindergarten, because he was in daycare and in, you know, preschool, pre-K, all of that. He learned so much, and he just assimilated so well into kindergarten. And I've heard, you know, crazy stories about kids who have such a tough time going into kindergarten because they've never had a daycare experience, and it makes it really hard. There's like so much to learn, so much going on, like just the sheer number of kids, and, you know, having to be on a schedule and learn and listen and all of that. Like, it is a lot. So I feel really good about the fact that I sent my kids to daycare. Chase is doing great. Now that he's in public school, I, feel no guilt whatsoever. That's where he's meant to be. I am so for public school and education. I will never be a homeschool mom ever, ever, ever. It's just not for me. I just see how much Chase absolutely loves school, and his teachers are amazing. The kids in his class are amazing. He's made so many friends. It's just, he's a different kid, and I am so grateful for this first year of school. I feel so connected to our community, and it's just been amazing. And Quinn is doing so great. She's in preschool now, but she'll be in pre-K next year. Then she'll go to kindergarten, and she is thriving. She loves her teachers. She loves the kids in her class. I come in and pick her up, and all of the kids like run over to me. Hi, Quinn's mom. Like, they call me Miss Amanda Panda. She's learning so much. She's doing science projects. They're sending me all these pictures. It's just wonderful. So I feel very blessed, and right now, I don't feel any guilt whatsoever, but I'll say that, in those times when they were younger, I did feel bad, and I think it was more when they were babies. Me and my husband would fight a lot when they were younger, because I was like, I don't want to work. I just want to stay home with them. They're so little, they're so innocent, they need me. But once that 1 year hit, something kind of switched in my brain, and I'm like, I could not be a stay-at-home mom. It's just not in my nature, and I need adult conversation. The kids are gonna do better in a daycare situation or preschool, and that's just won't work for us. How do you not burn out with work and mom responsibilities? This is a really great question. I definitely do burn out, and it's a hard thing to control, because it happens usually when I have a very busy season at work. Most of the time I can manage, my work-life balance. I have a job which I work from home, which makes things very flexible and allows me to kind of get chores done around the house, throw in the load of laundry, vacuum, whatever. So I feel like I can get a lot done because I'm working from home, but there are periods throughout the year where work is a lot more crazy than others, and that's when I really feel burnt out. And then usually from there, there's no way to avoid it. The only thing that I try to do is when I do have those burnout times and I feel very overworked and overwhelmed, I just take a step back in all the areas that I can. So work has to be work. I can't change anything there, but I can, not commit to other things outside of work, like socially. If I have dinners or like things lined up, I will probably not go to them, just so that I can have my downtime and kind of recharge. I also try to stay on my workout schedule. That really helps to relieve stress for me, and it also just makes me feel really good and on track. And I also really rely on Pete a lot when I'm feeling burnt out, and he is so good. He always is picking up the slack. Your relationship can never be 50-50. There's always gonna be times where either I'm really stressed out and I can't pull my weight, and he will step in for me, and vice versa. When he is really busy, has a lot going on work-wise, is out after work and doing things like that, I will pick up the slack for him. And it's just really nice to have him to fall back on. Like recently this week, April has just been such a very crazy month for us. We've had things to do every single weekend. We've been hosting a lot of stuff. My parents were just in town. It's literally, Chase has had so much stuff in school that I've had to prepare for. It's just been so insane. Work has been very busy, and I have just been crashing out this week in particular. And Pete was like, don't worry about dinner. I'll do dinner for the kids. I'll give the kids a bath. Like, go take a shower, go relax, go read, whatever. And he's like, I will take the kids if you need to just have a quiet space. We'll take them to the park or something like that. So that's kind of how I handle it. It's very unpredictable. In those times, like I said, I just try to pull back on other things. Like if I'm really overworked and overwhelmed, then I will not post YouTube videos. I won't film YouTube videos for the week. So I try to take things off my plate where I can, just to kind of stabilize. Trying to also eat very well, eat healthy, remember to go to sleep on time, get enough rest. all of that stuff really helps too. Oh, this is a good one. How do you prioritize bonding with your kids as a working mom, and what activities do you do to bond with them? That's a really great question. Obviously, the weekends are pure family time, so we like to go to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning. I'll get my coffee, we'll go to Shipley's, get their donuts. We go to the park, we try to get them out of the house, just do stuff as a family. But I think on the day-to-day, I try to have quality time with them after their bath time. So it's kind of crazy and hectic when they get home from school, they want a snack, I'm trying to finish up with work, then we have to have dinner and we have to take a bath, and sometimes I'll take them to the park. It's kind of after they have their bath, they come downstairs, and by that point in time, I'm kind of showered, I've eaten dinner myself and whatever, and so we'll sit on the couch and watch a movie together. Sometimes we'll play games, like they love Hungry Hungry Hippos, they love Candyland, so that stuff too. That's like really great quality bonding time. Also, right before bed, we'll read to them. I kind of hang out with them on the couch a little bit more and watch a movie and like snuggle and stuff, but when we put the kids to bed recently, I've kind of tucked them in, give them their kisses, and then Pete will stay up in their rooms with them and they'll play these like silly games for 5 or 10 minutes, and that's like his quality bonding time. So we kind of like shift a bit. So I have mine, and then they'll go upstairs, and right when they're ready to go to bed, like Pete will kind of have his like special alone time with them. And I think it works really well. I feel like they lean on us for different things, and as much time as I can spend with them, I do. I will draw with them, we'll play in the backyard together, read together. But I also will say that it's very hard. It is hard to find time to spend on activities that are during the week because there's just not enough time in the day. I'm actually very curious about what y'all do to bond with your kids too. How many times per week do you cook dinner? What's typically on the menu? Curious how you manage meals in general. So I'm gonna be completely 100 with you guys. I make the kids a separate meal. I eat something different from them, and Pete eats something different from me. So we literally, the kids have something, I have something different, and Pete has something different. And this is just a stage of life that we are in right now. My kids, I have tried, you guys, I have tried everything to make the same meal for our entire family, or Pete make the same meal for our entire family. It never works. The kids won't eat. They're done in 2 minutes and they're asking for stuff. It's just chaos. It's stressful. And I usually end up throwing out all this food because my kids won't eat it. So what I do is make the kids a separate meal, usually Monday through Thursday. Sundays, we try to make something that the kids and me and Pete will like: tacos, fajitas, big ziti, lasagna, something like that. That's kind of like a surefire win for everyone, and we'll eat together on Sunday nights. But Monday through Thursday, I make the kids a separate meal. Sometimes they'll have chicken nuggets, sometimes we'll get a rotisserie chicken. They love tacos, like I said. We'll do burritos. I usually make like a bean and cheese burrito for them. They love that. Pasta with sauce, pasta with meatballs. Sometimes I do an egg wrap, like a ham, egg, and cheese egg wrap. Sometimes we do breakfast for dinner. I keep it very, very basic because they're so picky. We'll do hot dogs and hamburgers sometimes, mac and cheese, like pretty much the staple foods for kids. And I'm not eating that shit. So that's why I don't eat the same thing as them. For myself, I usually make a salad 3 to 4 times a week. And the days that I'm not making salad, I'll have grilled chicken, or if Pete makes, chicken for fajitas or whatever, or tacos, I'll have that. And then Pete kind of eats completely different from all of us. He makes his own food most of the time, and he will do salmon. He makes burgers, steaks, chicken. He's very like a meat and vegetable kind of guy. I really don't like meat very much. That's why I eat salads for the majority of my meals. I'm not a big meat person. I never have been. But if he makes like a chicken or something like that, maybe I'll have it. And then he eats his vegetable, and that's kind of how we do it. And that's what works for us right now. I would love to get to a point where I am cooking, or Pete is cooking for the family a couple times a week, and we can all sit down, but we're just not there. We're not there. And because our kids still are so young and they require us to help them with everything for the most part, this way of doing things for us just allows everybody to have time to eat dinner, take a shower, and get ready for the evening, which is nice. So it works for us. Kind of like when I'm making dinner for the kids, Pete will come home and he'll take a shower, and then he'll get them a bath. And while he's giving them a bath, I'm cleaning up, and I will take a shower, eat dinner, and then, you know, once they're done with the bath, he'll eat dinner. So I don't know, we kind of figured out a situation that works for us, and that is that. Okay, do you and your hubby differ in parenting style, and how do you deal with that? So actually, this is a very, very important thing, and we do not differ in our parenting style. And I think that this really helps with parenting in general. We both kind of are on the same page with everything. I feel like how we parent is we like to give our kids like enough freedom to try stuff and be creative and whatever, but we also have very much so established that we are the parents and you are the children, and you are assimilating into our life, and you know, we don't revolve around you. And they know that when we say this is how it is, like that's how it is. And you can question us, but we are gonna tell you when no means no, and here's why. Like that's the end of the story. When they've been bad or something like that, they will get a punishment. They will have to go up in their room and think about what they did. And then we try to talk to them and ask them, do you understand, you know, why this was wrong and why you're in trouble? And, you know, we try to explain, you know, that's kind of how we parent. And then when they do good things, we really reinforce it. So, you know, great job. That was such a caring thing to do. Thank you so much for sharing. That was so thoughtful. You thought of your sister and wanted to get her a lollipop or whatever it is. You were nice to somebody at school. If Chase gets like a report card take home thing that says that he was really good in school, we really reinforce that. We give him a reward. He'll get ice cream or something special for dessert, or we'll go out to dinner or whatever. So, and I think another thing is that like me and Pete, we're on the same page where if I say no, Pete will also say no. So like if Chase asks me if he can do something and I say no, he knows not to go ask Pete because Pete's gonna say no, and vice versa. Like if Pete says no about something, then I will say no. So we always try to be on the same page so that they can't kind of like hit us against each other to benefit whatever they're trying to get. And that's been really helpful. Our biggest things, we just teach them to be kind to people, to look out for each other, to follow directions, to pay attention in school. Learning is very important. You gotta do your homework. I think for the most part, we've done a pretty good job. Chase really loves school. He likes to do homework. There was this couple of weeks where his teacher was out and he didn't get homework, and he literally went into our little cabinet and pulled out one of his kindergarten, like not for school, just a kindergarten workbook that we had gotten for him, I don't know, like a year ago or something. And he wanted to do homework because he just loves to do it. So it's like, when they start showing interest in stuff like that, we try our best to kind of lean into it. We are not gentle parents by any stretch of the imagination. We do not accept certain behavior. Like if they talk back to us whatsoever, like they're getting a punishment. If they're acting out, if they're fighting with each other, talking back, sometimes Chase is a little bit mouthy, and it's like, no, we're taking something away from you. You're having a consequence for things that you do wrong, and you're not getting away with it. You know, if you do something wrong, you're not going to be rewarded, you're going to be punished. And whatever that is, going to bed early, not getting dessert, going to sit in your room, not doing a fun thing on the weekend, not getting a donut on Saturday, like we'll take something away, taking away a toy. So that's kind of how we do. How do you and your husband split up household and childcare responsibilities while both working full time? I get this question a lot. It's a really great one. The way that we split things is I am mostly responsible for the household chores and cleaning, just simply because I am home all week long and I have the capacity to do this stuff. I am also very particular about cleaning and how the house is maintained. So I prefer to do it anyway. I find it very satisfying cleaning my house. I don't know what it is. It's like completing a task, seeing something go from dirty to clean, the relief that I feel afterwards, the satisfaction afterwards. And also I like to listen to a podcast while I am cleaning. So it's kind of a win-win for me. So I do most of that all the time, like the laundry, I do the floors, the dusting, cleaning up the kitchen, the dishes, unloading the dishes. Pete does his own laundry, which is nice. And he handles the bath. Like the bath, I can't stand doing baths. I don't know what it is. I'm just like, It's like my least favorite thing to do. So usually Pete will do the bath for the kids most nights of the week. And he plays with the kids when he gets home from work and like after the bath and everything like that. But around like the other household responsibilities that he is responsible for are mainly the finances, anything with the cars, managing our lawn service, any like services that we have for the house or financial management stuff. Pete does. He takes out the garbage, the paperwork stuff that I don't understand. He does our taxes, all of that stuff. The stuff that kind of he excels in, he does, and the stuff that I excel in and feel comfortable and most confident in doing, I do. So that's kind of how we split things up, and it works for us. I've gotten comments like, oh, you do so much, why doesn't your husband do more? And you know, honestly, it looks like I do so much because I film myself doing everything, but you don't see what Pete does most of the time. So I think that kind of like skews what you think he does, but he is a very hands-on parent. He will do anything that I ask him to do. If I ask him to help out, like go do X, Y, and Z, he will do it, and he'll do it happily. So it's not this like unbalanced scale. I feel like it's very balanced, and his job is completely different than mine. He has an hour-and-a-half commute each way to work Monday through Friday, and he has a very, very stressful job that is 24/7. Like I clock out at 5 o'clock, and I don't think about work until the next morning, or on the weekends I don't think about work. His job is around the clock. Like he's in marine fuel sales, so it's these ships that are coming from all over the country and they need fuel, and he needs to make sure that every ship gets its fuel on time and all this stuff, and it's very logistical. So he has a lot, like a big burden of work on him that I just don't have, that never stops. So I try to empathize as much as I can with that and pick up the slack and just do the things that are easy for me to get done, and he doesn't have to be bothered by it. So that's what works for us. I got this question a lot too. Do you keep YouTube private from your coworkers, or do you know that I film content? Fellow work from home mom here. So there have been a couple people that from work that have found my YouTube channel, and I've kind of just said like, let's keep it on the down low. I'm not trying to advertise it, and I don't advertise it at all to any of my coworkers or my boss or anything. Like I am not friends with my boss on social media, so she's not looking for me, or I'm not looking for her, or anything like that. But I think for the most part people don't know, and I want to keep it like that. Not that it would become a problem. It's not like I'm sitting here and spending time doing YouTube during the workday. I am like filming a portion of my day where I would normally be, cleaning up the kitchen, eating lunch, going for a walk, whatever. I would do all of those same things in a normal day, but I'm just literally pressing record when I'm filming a YouTube video. I do all of my editing after hours or on the weekend, so I'm not, spending my workday like doing YouTube work. It's more just like filming, pressing record on something that I would normally be doing and not recording. That's how I see it. So, but yeah, I don't think many people know. Would you ever get any type of cosmetic or plastic surgery? If so, what would you get done? No, I don't think so. I don't like hospitals. I am scared of surgeries. The only major surgery that I've had is my C-sections, and I would not want to do something like that, especially if it was to my face. Like I am terrified of something going wrong. I will never get a boob job. I like having, my little itty bitty titties, and I would never get like a BBL. I get Botox, and I will continue to get Botox, but I don't think I would ever get fillers like in my lips, or I don't know where else you get filler, but I don't want to look unnatural, and I want to look my age for as much as I can, like I'm not afraid of aging. I like the Botox because my forehead mainly is where I get it. I have like a lot of wrinkles in my forehead because I'm very expressive. So I'll continue to get that, but no, I don't think I'll get like a tummy tuck. I don't think I need one. And I don't know. There's nothing that I can think of that I would want to get. maybe that'll change as I get older, but like maybe a facelift or something, but still anything with the face like really terrifies me. Tips on being productive and organized at work and how to fit it all in. I have a couple of systems. Like I use OneNote and I put literally all of my tasks in there for every single week. And then I just like do the little checkbox and check them off. I use my Outlook calendar. I have everything scheduled in there. Even if it's like a reminder to submit something, I put it in my Outlook and use that to manage my time and make sure that I'm on track. Just planning in advance, I think helps a lot. Kind of looking at my schedule on a Friday and seeing what I have coming up and making sure that I carve out time. I like to block time in my calendar so that I can get like projects done. So, you know, I'll put an hour and a half block on my calendar so that nobody can schedule a meeting. And during that time, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to work on this, this, and this, or like it's just a brainstorming period where I just, you know, work on a PowerPoint or a presentation or something like that. And I try to chunk things out. My biggest struggle at work to get things done is I have so many meetings and sometimes the day just gets away from me. And when I have meetings, it's very hard, especially if I have them like back to back or, you know, an hour long one, then a half an hour, then an hour, and then a half an hour or something like that. It's very hard for me to kind of focus in the time that I'm not having my meetings to get stuff done. It's more just like I'm in my inbox all day or in my Zoom chats and stuff, but I have a good work environment or like work team environment where if I'm struggling to get something done, somebody else on my team can kind of help me out. So that's, you know, kind of helpful. And then I think what also helps me is that I feel like I don't have so much time during the day that I really like try to crunch everything in and like front load stuff in the beginning of my week so that by the end of the week, my big projects are done and I can just do the more administrative type stuff towards the end of the week because that's when things tend to start getting busy. My Thursdays, I have so many meetings on Thursdays, so I kind of have to make sure that everything is done by Thursday because that's kind of a lost day. And then Friday is more relaxed. There's usually not as many meetings, so I can usually get stuff done on Fridays as well. Do you have any plans to switch your current job? No, I really like my job. I have a new boss and I really love her so much and we've restructured in the marketing team. So I really like this new team that I'm working on. I'm getting to interface with different business units. I'm getting to work on different projects than I've ever had before. So it's more exciting. There's more stuff going on and you know, we're just evolving as a company to be more like customer centric. So it's a fun time to be working where I am and I'm just so comfortable and you know, my salary is good. I work from home, I have flexibility and I don't think that exists many places. So I'm very happy where I am. Okay, last one. How do you find a good group of friends when moving to a new state? So this is a really tough one and it took me literally like 4 years to make good friends. And luckily Pete's very social. He is the more outgoing one. He will walk up to anybody and strike up a conversation. So honestly, we met our best friends kind of through him. And I would just say join stuff as much as you can. And I know that it's very uncomfortable, you know, going out, putting yourself out there, like joining a book club, or if your neighborhood has anything like our neighborhood has a book club, we also have the bunko thing. If your neighborhood has any stuff like that, I would just encourage you to go. Even if you end up not liking it or the people are weird or you don't jive or whatever, just try it, go and see if you like it. And then I think another thing that's really helped find friends for us is just having kids. Chase has this really great group of friends that he met when he was in daycare that they still hang out, they still play sports together, and we are now friends with the parents. And that's another way of just making friends. I mean, through your kids and that's another way that like two of the moms that live on the street next to me, both of their kids are in Chase's class and they're all friends. So I became great friends with the moms because they want to play with each other. So we're like, hey, we're going down to the park. And you just have to say yes a lot, even if you don't want to. And I am the most introverted person. I don't like meeting people. I don't like being outside of my comfort zone. I would much rather be in my house, sitting on my couch, like by myself or with my family than going out and making friends and having a social life. But You need community. We need each other. We need to be social. We need to go out and speak face to face to people. And once you do it, it makes it a lot easier to do it again. And I know that it's hard and it's uncomfortable and awkward sometimes, but you just have to put yourself out there and then things will tend to click. And don't put too much pressure on yourself to do it either. Like I was kind of like, you know what, I'm in this weird place. Like I don't have friends at all. Like when me and Pete first moved here and didn't have kids, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to try to make friends and do all that, and it just wasn't working, and I felt really dejected when it wouldn't work. But once I kind of was like, you know what, it'll all work out. You're gonna have friends. You'll always meet friends. There's so many people, like it'll be fine. And then it was. Okay, I am like, my phone is like blowing up, and this video is, I think, probably like 45 minutes long. So I am gonna end the video. Thank you guys so much for submitting your questions on YouTube and on Instagram. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you have any other questions or if you want me to do another Q&A. I'm sorry if I didn't get your question. I'm gonna try to do these like once a month. I keep saying that, but I'm gonna try to stick to it because I kind of like making these sit down videos. It's a nice change up from my vlogs. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.